Welcome to the Cover 4 podcast. I'm Nolan Kangas. That's Bradshaw Furlong, Luca Moia, and Jeff Wall. Like I mentioned, we are continuing the series of draft grades. It just feels like it's just flying by, guys. But let's dive right in. AFC West, Denver Broncos. They've been in the news for a couple of reasons. There's a guy who might want to play in Denver who's currently in Wisconsin. Again, we'll save that for another episode. This episode is all about the draft. Jeff, how did they do on that draft?
You know what? I really loved this draft. I think they absolutely killed it. Like, I know. They probably could have taken Justin Fields, but that would make me sad. So I kind of have to automatically give them better grades because of that, guys. Like if you've been watching these draft grades for this entire time, you know, when you don't draft Justin Fields and you're not named the Chicago Bears, you're getting a good grade. No, but seriously, just generally, I love all their picks. Not super high on Seth Williams, but in the 6th round, definitely can't be mad at it. Jonathan Cooper, in the 7th round, again, that's really good value. Jamar Johnson fell into the 5th round. I love him. Another safety, Caden Stearns, love him. Super, really, really high upside. You could move on from Justin Simmons. Now that you have those two guys, they really shape your defense, right? You got Brandon Browning, one of the more special linebackers in this draft, super athletic guy. Blanketed Pat Freiermuth, one of the best tight ends in this draft. So if he has those cover skills, you got to pick him. Got good size too. Quentin Miners from Wisconsin Whitewater, the dude that was showing off his belly this entire offseason. Javonte Williams, one of the more fun running backs in this draft. And then obviously at number 9, Patrick Surtain. I got to give these guys an A. I'm not quite there on an A+, just because I do think you should have gotten a quarterback. Maybe the signals that they are getting Aaron Rodgers, but I think just generally, when you think of all this stuff compared to what they did in the offseason, getting a guy like Kyle Fuller, who's a great cornerback, their defense is going to be really good. And that's what it really looks like they're trying to do. They're trying to make this defense the best in the AFC West. And honestly, hard to see how it wouldn't be, to be completely honest with you. With a guy like Jonathan Cooper, you can potentially move on from guys like Bradley Chubb, guys like Von Miller, with like I said already, with Justin Simmons, with Brandon Browning, that's a really good, middle of the round, middle of the draft value pick, where you didn't have to take Micah Parsons like we were mocking the entire time. And not just us, lots of people were mocking Micah Parsons or JOK to the Denver Broncos. I think he easily solves that problem for them. Quentin Myers, if Drew Lock actually, can turn things around, hey, you got a slightly better offensive line, you got a better running back there. They have become a very good team, a very attractive market for any quarterback. Say even a Russell Wilson, who was a bit disgruntled this past year. So I think with now, they really just are a quarterback away from really competing. I honestly think that if Drew Lock even plays decent, man, and obviously barring injury, they're the second best team. They're the second best team in this division. I think easily. I think the Raiders have completely fallen off the face of the planet. I have some questions about the Chargers, but yeah, I think the Denver Broncos are a really good job. Good job, John Elway. You'll never hear me say that again.
I give him an A-. You're right. I think they hit it out of the park. A lot of phenomenal picks here. Surtain, your corner room is basically filled out. Obviously, Jamar Johnson in the 5th round, hell out. Their secondary is going to be unreal. You're right. I was going to say that too. Cooper in 7th round, again, another edge rusher. Hopefully Von Miller's healthy. Bradley Chubb can never stay healthy. Hopefully he stays on the field this year. Quinn Miners, that's a solid pick as well. Javonte Williams, I love him. My number 1 back. Odd choice here, though. That was kind of
trading up to get him too.
I know, especially I like Melvin Gordon, and then you already have Royce Freeman. What's the plan there?
Yeah, I don't like the running back room, so maybe that's why I'm a little bit less harsh.
And that's fair too, but I think there was more value. I would have liked to see them go an offensive lineman there. I think their offensive line has improved. Garrett Bowles had a phenomenal year this past season, but I just don't think running back was a real need for them, right? Because clearly they move off Phillip Lindsay, and then that kind of seemed and opened the door. All right, Melvin Gordon and Royce Freeman, it's going to be the 1-2 punch. Okay. And then you go and trade up for Javonte Williams. You're right. It's quarterback, Jeff. They could have taken Justin Fields. We can't blame him for that right now because we don't know how it's going to play out. Maybe they get Aaron Rodgers. Maybe they don't. Let's see how Teddy Bridgewater does. That's going to be a question too. Teddy Bridgewater had a good system, had good weapons in Carolina, and it didn't work out. They didn't have a good defense either, and it was a rookie head coach. You have a good coach here. You have a great defense. You have the weapons. I think this team could win at least 9 games. I think there's that much talent around. Luca, Bradshaw, what did you think about what Denver did?
I just wanted to quickly, anyone who's going to take Quinn Miners in this draft, I was going to love. I don't usually get hyped on, I know I got excited about Ben Cleveland, but I watched a lot of Quinn Miners because I was really hoping the Falcons would take him, and I know it was D3 competition, but my goodness, the man was just bowling people over as a center too. You don't see that very often. That was a lot of fun. So I like this draft a lot. I think this is a really fun draft, minus the trading up for Javonte Williams. It's a great running back. I just wouldn't trade it up to get him and invest more draft capital into a running back than you really need to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. And then Patrick Surtain, I think for them, it's like you look at the receivers in this division, it's like, well, we got to cover them. You got Keenan Allen, you have Tyreek Hill, if you want to put him on Travis Kelce, if you want to do it like that. So they have to address the secondary. I agree. We don't know how Justin Fields is going to do. Me and Jeff are really high on him. You guys think he's going to be a great player in the league, but can't judge him right now. But again, Surtain or your future quarterback, everything else was a slam dunk, I think. But that's the difference right there, and we'll see in the future what happens.
Speaking of a pretty promising future, Justin Herbert has that, in my opinion, at least, maybe not in Jeff's eyes, but it seems like the future is heading in the right direction for the Chargers, right, Luca?
Yeah, they are, Nolan. Listen, you know what? You can keep throwing to me all you want.
Back-to-back episodes. Get him out of here.
Hey, that's
Marcus
okay.
Camby gift. Just get him out. Come on. Get him out of here.
I asked before too. I literally asked before, and yeah, I keep pooping the bed here. You know what, Luca? I'll save your sweet talk for the Chiefs in a little bit. Bradshaw,
Thanks.
what did you have for the Chargers?
My goodness, New Orleans Saints ass stinking up the joint here. My goodness,
Taysom Hill, baby.
Yeah, my God, what kind of host do we have here?
I'll show myself out.
Draft a new host in the top 10. For the Chargers, I obviously really like the Chargers. I think a lot of people really like the Chargers draft. I gave them an A. Which might have been my highest grade that I've given out so far. I'm not sure. I have to go back and check. But Rashawn Slater, obviously a great value pick for them there. You're protecting Justin Herbert, which is always something good in my eyes. The more you can protect Justin Herbert, the better. I'm also president of the Justin Fields fan club with Nolan. We're co-presidents, and Jeff is the president of the Justin Herbert hater fan club, but that's okay. We still love Jeff, even though he's wrong. Asante Samuel Jr. in the second round. Again, great pick. I loved Asante Samuel Jr. There were plenty of teams I thought should have taken him instead of the 2 Georgia corners specifically. I think he's going to thrive, really thrive off ball in Brandon Staley's scheme. So I think that'll be a really good fit there. Josh Palmer, I would have preferred De'Ami Brown there instead, but I like Josh Palmer as well. He's a solid route runner. He should compete for the wide receiver 3 job right away. So giving Justin Herbert another weapon, again, love that. Love to see it. Trey McKitty, not huge on that one. I thought you probably could have gone Brevin Jordan there, even though I said Brevin Jordan's a bit of a project. I still would prefer the project over Trey McKitty. I don't think Trey McKitty has the upside that Brevin Jordan does. So I would have preferred Brevin Jordan there, but I don't hate the McKitty pick either. Chris Rumph, I really like that pick in the 4th round. He's polished, he's productive, he's a little undersized, but I like the bet there. Brendan James, he's a little undersized. Maybe that's a kick into guard, but an athlete. And Nick Neiman, he has 98 percentile 3-cone. So very, very agile guy. I'm really going to like to see what I'm very interested in what we're going to see from him in the Chargers defense. And then, running back and then a corner in the late rounds. I'm fine with those picks. Give me an A for the Chargers. I really like this draft.
I had an A as well. I think home run in the 1st round, home run in the 2nd round. McKitty, you're right, question mark. Josh Palmer, Canadian. I think there was other talent there in the 3rd, but man, he played with crap at Tennessee.
Yeah.
And if you go back on the tape against Alabama, he makes Surtain look pretty bad in some moments. Like, he's got talent. Like, he's a fun player. So, man, it's just going to be the coaching for me, right? You look back at what has been the past, and their coaching sucks. And now you're bringing Staley. All right, now it's a little bit more, exciting. Now he's got, some room to grow with some really talented players. Asante Samuel, that's your number one rookie defensive player coming in. That's a good start, right? You already have Derwin James, right? You already have, Bosa, right? Like there's talent all over on this football team. I think it's going to be a really exciting future for the Los Angeles Chargers. Luca, Jeff, what did you guys think of what they did?
I loved it. I thought, don't have to trade up for Slater. Falls to you at 13. And the same thing happens with Sam. Whenever you don't have to trade up and you still get your guy, it's kind of hard to argue and kind of knick-knack what they did wrong. I mean, they just got – people thought Slater was better than Sewell. Like, he was just – and you look back at the tape, how did he do against NFL competition? Well, go back and look at Ohio State. He kind of shut down Chase Young in that game, and that's what kind of, I think, pushed him over the top when you were looking at him and scouting him. But – slam dunk picks, like you said, Nolan. First 2 picks, I always look at the first 3 rounds because those are the guys that you think that could start on your football team. And I think they got 3 starters in the first 3 rounds, and that's why they had such a good draft. Future's looking really bright.
Yeah, I don't have many issues. I maybe think like you could have gone a little bit more offensive line heavy, but yeah, I agree with what like Luca said. I really like the top of their draft a lot. The Trey McKitty one, I kind of feel like you could have gotten him a lot later. Like he didn't have like a lot of production at all. I think he was on anybody's radar, to be honest with you. I think there was talent there for sure. Don't get me wrong. But like, I feel like he's like a 5th or 6th round pick, to be completely fair. And even like, there's a guy like Pro Wells who I think is a bit better, but yeah, no, like there really isn't many issues. I give him like an A-, to be honest.
Yeah, I think McKinney is actually going to be interesting as well. I know I said I wasn't too high on that pick either, but Georgia's offense sucks. And it's a nightmare to watch. And I wonder if, he has some talent there and you're going in a pass heavy scheme with the Chargers. So that could be interesting as well. Kansas City Chiefs, they traded away their first rounder to go get their tackle of the future in Orlando Brown. But Luca, you are the one covering the Chiefs for this pick, correct?
Yes, I am.
Alrighty, perfect.
It's just me and you left, Nolan. So yeah.
50-50 shot.
50-50. Listen, I think the first 2 picks, they just, again, I'm sitting there, I'm like, how are teams letting these guys get these players this late? Like, first off, Creed Humphrey, like I know it was their second round pick, but I'm thinking the Steelers, like, what are you doing? And now they pick him up, and he didn't allow a sack, and he played over 1,200 snaps. Like, it was something ridiculous like that. You want production. You got production right here. Then you go to the linebacking room. You got Nick Bolton from Missouri. People had him as like a top 3 linebacker. Like, are you kidding me? Like the value they got in the second round. And then they traded a first for an all-pro tackle. Like the needs that they needed going into the draft and into free agency, if you want to combine them, Chiefs are going to be better. And it's scary because now they got an offensive line. They got the doctor from Canada coming back. They got the center here now. They are going to be a good football team. Their first 2 picks, I thought they slammed. And then, you go later in the draft, you get the tight end from Duke, you get the receiver from Clemson. Like, again, are they going to be impact players? Probably not, because you look at the players they have on this offense, they don't really need guys like that. I get it. Like Jeff's been talking about in the last couple episodes, guys in a contract year, they'll maybe slide in if they see good production on practice. But again, their first 2 picks, I thought they did a great job. And Andy Reid and the defense especially should be better. And if they can get the defense sorted out, good luck. Good luck to the rest of the league, because I don't remember the last time other than the Super Bowl where this team has been held to under like 20 points. Like every single game you expect them to score at least 3 touchdowns. And you get a defense now, you get a linebacker like Bolton who can go sideline to sideline and bring some aggression with Chris Jones and Tyrann Mathieu. Like, man, the league screwed up, man. You guys screwed up. You let the Chiefs get better. What can I say?
I'm with you, Luca. I think I gave him an A-.
Oh yeah, my rating. Yeah, okay, sure. I'll go A-.
No, you go ahead.
I'll go with you. Yeah, B+, A-. I didn't really give a grade. I thought just because the first 2 picks were so good. So I'll ride with you, Nolan. I'll go A-.
Good. I think Nick Bolton is going to be perfect for this defense, right? Mm-hmm. And it's been a question mark for this team for the last couple of years is, can they stop the run? That didn't happen in the Super Bowl. Fat Lenny ran all over them. And Nick Bolton, he's a linebacker who you mentioned, sideline, but he also wants to take your head off, right? He's an aggressive linebacker. They took one in the second round last year as well, and Willie Gay. So there's two young linebackers there for the future. Creed Humphrey, I think, can start over Austin Blythe, right? So that's a good piece. And you mentioned the Cornell Powell pick out of Clemson. I think that's sneaky good. Had some good games there with Trevor Lawrence. Also, who's the wide receiver 3 on this team? Is it Demarcus Robinson? That doesn't excite me. McCole Hardman, he can't catch, for his life. So that was a little harsh. I'm really sorry. He's a gadget player. Cornell Powell's a little bit more polished and big. He's a big guy, right? He's pretty aggressive as well. So, and also Trey Smith. I think he's the guard out of Tennessee. They took him late. And I believe he was a 5-star recruit too. So a project player, I mentioned at Tennessee, they sucked. They're horrible coaching all over the field there. So maybe he ends up, being a rotational piece on this offensive line. They didn't get worse. They got a little bit better. It's all going to depend on, can they protect Patrick Mahomes moving forward? Guess what? Their first round pick, they gave away and got that guy who's going to protect Patrick Mahomes. Bradshaw, Jeff, anything else on the Chiefs?
I think like for me, I know we're not grading that trade, but they won that trade. Like the way that they drafted subsequently afterward, like that, they knocked it out of the park, right? Because you don't have that first round pick, but in a sense, it really affects this draft, right? And then they killed it with those first 2 picks. They absolutely just killed it. Those were smart. I mean, also, how did no one draft Creed Humphrey? Till 63. Just wild. The guy doesn't allow a sack. Isn't that what you want? I thought that's what you want, but whatever. And Cornell Powell, I totally agree with you, Nolan. That's a really good pick. I think they need a guy like that can give them something a little bit different, right? Just like a sure-handed guy, much more polished. And he did a lot of good stuff at Clemson. So I'm excited to see what he can do as well.
Yeah, I think I remember messaging in our group chat when the Creed Humphrey pick happened, and I was like, how did the league let the Chiefs get Creed Humphrey? It's just unfair. Why are we doing this? You're just letting them build the Death Star even more. You just saw what they did in the offseason. What are you doing? Come on. I know that. I mean, the Falcons can take care of them. It's okay. They handled them pretty well with a pretty incompetent head coach. So I think they'll be fine going forward. I'm just kidding.
Bradshaw's getting ahead of himself. Someone who's getting ahead of himself is Mayock and Gruden.
Oh, yeah.
The Raiders, they sucked. They crapped the bed here. Boy, was it bad. Talent, another F. I think I gave an F for the Saints on the last episode. Another F here for the Las Vegas Raiders. And I only did a couple notes on this. Here's what I said. Leatherwood that early, yuck. Come on. Well, I just said Darisaw's on the board, better tackle. Leatherwood, everybody else had in the second round. How is your evaluation that bad? But you go, bingo, we got him at the spot here. Nolan, if you like him that much too, trade back.
You know why they valued him higher. You know why.
We all know
why.
Come on.
Alabama guy, right?
Crimson Tide.
There was one pick I did really like here, and it was Mayrig, right?
Yep.
They ended up getting him in the second round. One good value. And I think that is going to force Jonathan Abram to play in the box a little bit more, because when he plays high safety, it is a nightmare. So I think that's a really good pick. But then why did you go Gillespie out of Missouri in the 5th round? To me, that didn't make sense. You're not going to have 3 safeties play. Then you go in the 3rd, and this was a mess. Malcolm Kuntz and Divine Diablo out of Virginia Tech. No. What are you doing in the 3rd round? Ronnie Perkins on the board. You need an edge, but you go Kuntz from Buffalo instead. I'm sorry. I don't know where teams evaluated him. That's a 5th, 6th rounder to me. Ronnie Perkins, some people had 1st round, some people had 2nd round. He falls to the 3rd. You got to go grab him. You didn't do that, right? And then they go Diablo, right? A DB. I believe he played a little bit more safety at Virginia Tech. I'll have to go back and watch the film there. Your corners are supposed to be set with 2 young guys moving forward. You already got your safety now. So is he going to play kind of nickel? I guess we'll see. But the receiving room sucks on this team too, right? It's Ruggs and Hunter Renfrow. And then Waller, Waller's a fantastic tight end too, but there's got to be another wide receiver. Renfro's a clear number 3. Ruggs, we don't know what he's going to be. Seems like a 2 right now. Diami Brown was on the board. And then you go Diablo. That's a mess. Also, you look at the 3rd round too. If you wanted to go with DB, which I was saying, maybe you didn't have to do. Elijah Molden, there. Melifonwu, there. Trey Brown, there. Way more talented, right? Horrible evaluation. There's going to be a shakeup soon with the Raiders. This team stinks. Like, and their O-line. Their O-line was a mess. I would have been fine if they went O-line for the first 3 picks, and they didn't do that. And they, again, reaching on their tackle. It was bad. It was really, really bad. It's a shame because everybody else in their division kicked ass, and theirs was the laughing stock of the draft. Anything else on the Raiders, guys? I'm sure you're with me.
Yeah, and Mike Mayock used to be one of the most well-respected guys, the draft guy on the NFL Network. For all of us that are in any form of media, we have no credibility because of Mike Mayock, because of what he is doing right now. Unless he can turn this around, unless Leatherwood turns into a superstar, unless Maurig turns into the guy that we think he can be. Sorry, Mayrig. Divine Diablo, I actually like him. There are guys I like. It's just where you picked them, who you picked over other guys. It's Mike, buddy, you are absolutely killing us. The people that say the guys in the media should shut up if they haven't played. Well, buddy, you are absolutely proving them right. So thanks for that, making our lives tougher.
Yeah, it was certainly a tough draft class for the Raiders. Can't see them winning more than 7 games this upcoming season. NFC West, though, we'll move over there. Tons of good teams in this division, and some draft classes that were a little bit questionable. You obviously had 2 teams there who didn't have a first-round pick. You had one team that only had 3 picks in general. But let's get started with a team who had an interesting selection. Maybe not something that we would have done, but the Arizona Cardinals. What was the grade there for the Cards?
The grade for the Arizona Cardinals is going to be a B-. I do like some of the guys that they got towards the end of the draft. I wasn't so high on. I like Zaven Collins. There's a question. I've heard they want to play him though at edge, and I do think he has some pass rushing value, but to me it's just there was other guys on the board. I believe Jalen Collins was on the board there for you. You easily could have gotten that guy, Kwity Paye. I mean, if you're going for pass rush, that's the guy. If you want to be more multiple, if you want to be like the Patriots, right? Then you do that. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of why I had liked Zaven Collins back when we were talking about him. Rondale Moore, to me, I do like Rondale Moore, but my God, I kind of feel like there's other guys, man. There's other guys. Rondale Moore, to me, is a bit of a project. I actually think he is more of a 2nd to 3rd round kind of guy. I know he's explosive, right? But the consistency, right? The injuries, there's stuff about him that does scare me a little bit. And this offense needs to be a lot better, a lot better. Cliff Kingsbury cannot mess this up. He does not have an excuse. He is supposed to be in here as the guy to figure this out. He has DeAndre Hopkins. He has Kyler Murray, who's electric. Now you have Rondale Moore. Okay, your offense better be at least near the top 10, dude. There is no excuse anymore. So I don't hate this draft. I don't. I know it sounds like I'm being very harsh, but I just kind of feel I don't see how they're going to fit it. I do like the talent. I mostly like where they picked it, but I'm just a little bit concerned that I don't think they're going to implement it the right way. Zaven Collins as an inside linebacker cover guy, you mix and match kind of thing. Great. If you're putting him at the edge, there was other guys that I would have easily taken over him. So yeah, it was solid draft.
Yeah, that's interesting. If they want to put him at the edge, I wonder if that means they're going to slide JJ Watt inside, where he's pretty successful as well. And obviously you have Chandler Jones coming back, who's one of the best edge rushers in football. But yeah, Collins, interesting. I'm a little bit different on Rondale Moore than you. I think this would be the perfect situation for him, not a number 1 wide receiver. He's not going to beat you on the outside, right? He's 5'6", but he's crazy after the catch, crazy fast, strong for his size, right? He's 5'6", 180, right? He's jacked. He can lift. That sounded so douchey. I'm so sorry. But I do think for that situation, DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk, Andy Isabella, they took a flyer on out of UMass. He is strictly 4.2 speed, but he is strictly 160. He gets knocked off the line of scrimmage. It's not fun, right? He's a risky player. Rondale Moore can do a lot more than him. So I think if Cliff Kingsbury can actually put some creativity in the offense, then it would be nice. Collins, you're right. I think the linebacking duo, if they play him at linebacker, I think that's going to be fun with Isaiah Simmons. You got your coverage guy and you got your guy who can go downhill. Marco Wilson, interesting pick. I think James Wiggins in the 7th. I think that's good value for a safety there. I do think they still need offensive line help, and I don't think they answered that. So again, I mentioned with the Chargers, kind of earlier in this, that they had the horrible coaching and now it might be fixed. This is a coach on the hot seat. He needs to figure it out. If you don't get there, he's gone. And then you're going to bring another coach in who's probably going to make this team look really darn good because they have the talent. Bradshaw, Luca, anything else on the cards?
I liked the 2 corner picks. I like Wilson and Tay Gowan. I think Tay Gowan has a chance to actually develop into something really good. And they obviously needed corners with Robert Alford and Malcolm Butler being their 2 corners. So those 2 will have a chance to play right away. There was a funny tweet when the Cardinals picked Rondale Moore. Someone tweeted out that it'd be really great if the Cardinals had a creative offensive mind to get the most out of Rondale Moore, because we've seen how bland Cliff Kingsbury's play calling has been. So yeah, it's really like Jeff said, it's really up to Cliff Kingsbury now. He has the offensive pieces. They have some nice pieces on defense. This is kind of not it for him, but it's almost it for him at this point.
Yeah, the reason why I think for me it's Rondale Moore is like the fit. Right. Like, I feel like if you had like a more polished wide receiver, like I think you could have maybe picked a few more, arguably, right? Like what we've been talking about, right? Like I like De'Ami Brown, Terrence Marshall, somebody like that. Like there's Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like there was other guys. I think if you had just stacked it up a little bit more, like I just think that if there's a bit more polish there, it probably helps him a bit more. So I guess maybe that's why I'm so hard on it.
Yeah, that's completely fair. That leads to me and the San Francisco 49ers. I'm going to be a little bit harsh, guys, and usually I'm a little bit nice. C+. And I know this team's harsh. You get your quarterback of the future, Trey Lance, but I just think the question mark is always going to be, why didn't they see Justin Fields as that guy? A guy who can throw over the middle of the field from that range of 10 to 20 yards, is probably the best passer of the guys in this class, and he's accurate. What does Kyle Shanahan's offense do? A little bit of short stuff, a little bit of relying on guys to go yards after the catch. Trey Lance, not accurate at all in the middle of the field for the limited sample size. I think it's going to be a question mark for the rest of his career, and I hate to put that on him, but that's what happens when you're, quarterbacks drafted in the first round. And other than that, there was nothing really that stood out to me in this class. I think the Hufanga pick's pretty nice where they got him. You go Trey Sermon. If you're Kyle Shanahan, you never need to draft a running back. Like, you have the perfect run system, right? You are taking guys off the street and putting them in there, and they end up being the fastest guys and end up rushing for 900 yards, right? Like, there's no reason you need Trey Sermon in the 3rd round. Way more valuable positions there that you could have gone. Aaron Banks over some of the tackles. I get Banks is going to play inside. But again, like I think if you really value grabbing another offensive lineman, why not get Sam Cosmi and just slide him inside and get him to learn behind Trent Williams? And then when Trent Williams gets up there in age, maybe the contract gets a little too expensive. There's our left tackle of the future. Same thing with Dylan Radins, right? I just think with the 49ers class, I think they could have done a lot more. And this is a team that has a lot of talent, right? We know that. They're going to have a phenomenal defense. They have the weapons, but it's going to be the question mark at quarterback, right? You could have gone the guy who doesn't need, to kind of sit behind, sit for a year. He steps in. He is going to have talent. Trey Lance, I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to take him to develop. I think it's maybe a 1-year situation, but then you're just, it's the Jimmy G situation again for a year. What's going to happen? A playoff team, and then you lose, right? Like, I think there was more value there that they could have hit on a majority of their picks, and that's why I was a little bit more harsh. And I feel like I've been a little bit harsh with all of the teams that we've kind of discussed, even though some I've been giving A and A-. They could have gone an A+. They could have gotten an A. There was that quarterback question mark of, you could have gone Justin Fields if you were the Carolina, if you were the Denver, right? Did you guys have something different? Like, C+ is harsh. I'm assuming maybe you guys had a little bit easier of a grade on the Niners.
I don't think C+ is harsh. So I think you're bang on. No, I absolutely agree on the running back thing. Dude, just take whatever free agent running back. Who cares? Just get the best offensive lineman, in my opinion, because their whole thing is based on offensive linemen. Just get those guys. And there was tons of guys like Kendrick Green, who I keep talking about. I just don't know how the guy fell. And he seems perfect for Kyle Shanahan. Like, why not pick a guy like that? Why not even get a few extra weapons? I actually don't really rate their weapons that highly. Why not go up for a couple of the few decent corners that were left on the board? Like, I think that there's a few more things I could have answered. There was a few edge rushers, honestly, a few interior rushers, like Milton Williams, I think would have been great for their defense. I think if you bulk up that defensive line even more, that's scary, man. And I just think that, they could have done better, I guess.
Yeah, and instead of that, like, Trey Sermon pick, you could go, like, again, you could go best player available there, like Elijah Mitchell at the end of the draft there. That's fine. He's a fast running back, and that's what they're looking for. They look for speed of the running back position. So you take him in the 6th round, that's all you need. You don't need to invest more than that if you're the Niners, especially with the running back room you have. You don't need to invest more than what you need to into that position. You go, like Jeff was saying, you listen to a bunch of guys. Imagine Anthony Schwartz, like, with his speed in that offense. That'd be so fun, right? That'd be a lot of fun, and that would just work out so much more than having Trey Sermon, who's not going to have to compete for carries with other guys. It was a confusing draft. Like, I like it as a whole, and I do like Trey Lance. I think I like Trey Lance. I don't mind that pick at all. I'm pretty high on Trey Lance, but yeah, it was those just a couple confusing picks there that just didn't make a ton of sense to me. So yeah, like B- C+ would be right around where I would go.
Alrighty, that leads. Who had the Rams? Because this was a tough one. Bradshaw Rams, give it to me.
I mean, it's a Rams draft, right? Like, they don't have a 1st round pick, as is tradition. They go Tutu Atwell with their 2nd round pick. They get their speed guy, which is something they've craved. They need their speed receiver since Brandon Cooks left, and I sure do like Brandon Cooks more than Tutu Atwell. I'll say that. I don't love Tutu Atwell like Jeff does, but I think he's a solid player. I think he'll fit. I think they'll find ways to use him pretty effectively. I don't doubt Sean McVay using offensive weapons. Ernest Jones, he's a lengthy guy, pretty explosive. I'm not entirely sure how he's going to hold up against the pass, but we'll see. Again, I don't want to doubt the Rams defense, but Brandon Staley's gone now too, so we'll see how that goes. Another athlete in Bobby Brown. Again, just a Rams draft, like, just athletes in these mid to late rounds. Robert Rochelle, a guy I really like, but is, like, again, he's a raw athlete. His technique isn't there. He's not a very polished corner, but he's a hell of an athlete. And I'm very intrigued to see how they use him. I'm going to skip their 4th round because I'm going to get back to that. Ernest Brown from Northwestern, again, another athlete, a very good guy against the run, physical guy. I'm not entirely sure where he's going to max out at, but again, another athlete. Same with Jake Funk. I don't know how much they're going to use Jake Funk, but it's fine. And then Jacob Harris, I just want to read off some of his measurables and his pro day numbers here. So he's 6'5", 219, 82-inch wingspan, 92nd percentile, 34-inch arms, 92nd percentile, 4'4", 340, 99th percentile, 20-yard split. He has a 40.5-inch vertical, 93rd percentile, 96th percentile broad jump, 98th percentile 3-cone. But he's 24 years old and didn't really catch a ball as a receiver until his junior year in university. So he's a bit of a project, but my goodness, that is the peak Rams pick right there. That is one hell of an athlete, one hell of a receiver. I'm very intrigued to see how Jacob Harris turns out, because that's an athlete. And I didn't really look into Jacob Harris too much. And I mean, they might use him a little bit as a tight end as well. He has the size to kind of do both, but I'm very intrigued to see how they use a guy like that, because any team like the Rams that can get an athlete like that, I'm very intrigued to see how they do. So I gave him a C+ because it's a Rams draft. They took a lot of athletes and they got a speed receiver, which is kind of what they were looking for and kind of what they think they've been missing from their receiver room. So I don't hate it, but I mean, anytime you don't have a 1st round pick, it's going to be tough.
Why was I so harsh with the NFC West? Because now I'm looking at my grade for this one. It wasn't fun. I gave him a D+ because I think the Tutu Atwell pick is a nightmare. I just think, one, you lost your safety and you lost your nickel corner, right? Troy Hill, John Johnson. Why didn't you take one of the guys who were falling at that spot, right? Those would have been impactful players. When is Tutu Atwell going to get on the field? Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, they took the kid out of Florida last year, right, who they seem to like. Higbee, there's your tight end. Cam Akers, if they can develop him in the pass game a little bit, that's fun. I don't think Tutu Atwell would be the guy. If you wanted to go receiver, oh boy, there were better guys on the board, right? Terrace Marshall, Diami Brown, Anthony Schwartz, we mentioned Nico Collins. Like, there were better guys all over there. Tutu Atwell, I'm telling you right now, is John Ross 2.0. I know that's harsh. I feel bad. You can't be whatever he is, 5'8", 150. And it depends where they play him, obviously. But man, you're playing in a nasty division in the NFC West, and you're not going to have a lot of time and opportunities to get on the field. I don't know. I just think, to me, I know the Rams don't have a lot of picks. They didn't have the first rounder. They're pretty much all in on this roster right now. Obviously, that was the telling move when they traded for Matt Stafford. I don't know how much impact some of these guys have. That was just my opinion. Jeff, Luca, what did you guys think?
Nolan, I just want to correct you. He will not be John Ross II. He will be Bruce Matheson II. All right, throw back to an older episode. But I guess I don't know. Tutu Atwell to me was more like a later, like 5th round pick, to be completely honest. And I like him, but I like him more like later because he, to me, like, wasn't very developed at all. And the size is a little bit concerning, right? I don't really see him like in contested catch situations being able to get that open. A lot of guys in the NFL are much faster. The NFL knows how to stop speed guys. Like, they just do. And unless you're like absolute like speed demon, you are not getting open just because of your speed. He's very fast. Yes. But I just don't think, like, there's going to need to be a lot more. Right. And I agree. When is he going to see the field? I think you could have gone defense. Just go more defense, man. I think Sean Payton will figure out the offense. And I think with Matt Stafford, you're banking on the offense being a lot better. So why not just go all out on defense? Get Ronnie Perkins, get a better pass rusher, like get another corner, get Merrick, get Darius Washington, get Jamar Johnson, Cade Stearns. Come on, man. There were so many guys there that you could have picked to fix these other problems, fill the holes, and keep your team at least where it was. I almost feel like they kind of regressed, to be completely honest with you.
All righty. One team that, they had no draft picks whatsoever. Well, they actually had some, but I just mean, like, compared to everyone else in the league, they barely had anything. The Seattle Seahawks. Luca, what grade did you give the Seahawks with their 3 picks?
I'm going to take a page out of your book. Ready? C+. I think because for the reason, listen, I think they got good value with 2 of their picks here. Dwayne Eskridge, wide receiver. He's going to slide in. He could be wide receiver 3 to Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. They like the run game with Chris Carson. He's a dual threat running back. Like the pick there. Then they go Trey Brown, Oklahoma, corner. Right? They lost Griffin in the offseason. He can slide in. He can become a starter on this team. It's interesting because he's only 5'10", and you look at Seattle and you look at the corners they have. They like these long corners, these guys who have length and that could tackle. So it's going to be interesting to see how they fit him into this defensive scheme. But nonetheless, I think it's good value in the 4th round. Then in the 6th round here, Stone Forsythe, offensive tackle, Florida. You wait till the 6th round to take an offensive lineman. That's where I have the problem with. I mean, Russell Wilson, literally, you went into a panic halfway through the offseason because he wanted to be traded he was putting guys on his trade list because they don't protect him. And then you wait till you only have 3 picks, and you wait till your last pick to pick an offensive tackle. And for me, it's like, well, why are you going to piss off your franchise guy even more? And you're going to have a situation like Aaron Rodgers. For me, it doesn't make any sense until you're taking these guys for granted. They surprised me again because they always do something crazy, like trading up for Penny a couple of years ago, taking a running back in the 1st round. And I think we all think, like, what the hell are you doing? Got good value here with the players they got. But my problem is why it's so low is because you waited until your last pick to get the one position I think you really need. Corner, I have no problem with that, right? But for a 3rd receiver, when your offense is pretty dynamic already, that's maybe where you could have gone in the 6th round. Not in the 2nd round, when there's still pretty good tackles on the board that you could have helped your franchise guy behind center. That's questionable to me. See if Russell Wilson's going to be happy getting hit 24/7 once again. That's why it's C+ for me because they just didn't address what their guy wanted and pretty much what they need.
I gave the same grade, but for different reasons. I think Stone Forsythe in the 6th round is decent value. I think he probably should have gone higher, but I think you're right. I think, this offensive line has sucked for years. I would have been fine. O-line.
Yeah.
That would have been cool, right? And for me, a receiver there, really questionable. You have DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. We both really like them, right? Metcalf's clearly the 1. Lockett's clearly the 2. Maybe you need another 3. I don't like Dwayne Eskridge. And I think he's 24 years old, right? Smaller size. I believe he's Western Michigan, right? So small school. And the hands are really questionable to me. And again, we've been slamming the board here. If there was a receiver you should have taken in that 2nd round, Terrace Marshall, there's your slot receiver. Diami Brown can move all over the field, right? You can move Lockett inside and have Diami Brown as another field stretcher, right? Better receivers there on the board instead of Eskridge. That's just my opinion. Trey Brown, love that pick for the value. They need another corner. It's really tough to give these guys a good grade, right? When you're only picking 3 times. Again, there's going to be question marks. It's going to kind of be the Russell Wilson show again. And how much are they going to pound the rock on stupid situations? But I'm with you, Luca. C+ for me. Bradshaw, Jeff, what did you guys think of what the Seahawks did?
I feel you both on this. I think, like you said, Nolan, you easily could have just gone offensive line. Why? Why not? What is the worst that can happen? I'll tell you what, not a lot, because offensive linemen very rarely bust. It's very, very rare. You passed on Wyatt Davis, you passed on Kedrick Green, you passed on Rob Hainsey. Why? To get a receiver from Central Michigan, unless he is an absolute monster, I do not understand that. It sucks for Russell Wilson because he might get beaten up so bad to the point where he actually might not be the same guy the next season to actually have any real trade value at this point. I think it's that simple. The guy asked for offensive linemen. You didn't give him offensive linemen, and now he's even more pissed. And he's not going to be as healthy. You don't need receivers. You just don't need receivers anymore, man. You got them.
I agree.
Alrighty. That's going to do it. AFC West, NFC West covered. I'm trying to think. I think that's it, right? Have we covered every division? Wow.
That's every division.
We absolutely ripped through that. Guys, that is the Cover 4 podcast 2021 NFL draft grades. Check out all of the past episodes. Let us know, obviously, in the YouTube comments or on Instagram, what you think of the drafts. I know we were kind of harsh with some of them. If you think the Raiders actually did well or the Saints did well, you are wrong on that one. I will tell you that for free. Guys, Cover 4 podcast. That's Bradshaw. That's Luca. That is Jeff. I'm Nolan. We'll see you guys next time.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Lingo Sports and Lingo News for a whole lot more just like this.